So I hope you enjoyed the first two talks this morning by Bas and Pat. And I'm actually not really delivering something completely new, but rather I'm building on top on what was already said this morning. So I'm going to be talking about the 10 pitfalls of agile transformations and how to overcome them with scaled intent leadership. The talk was actually designed as a 1-hour talk, and I had a hard time to leave off some of the slides, but I will be trying to get to the point as soon as possible. So let me quickly introduce myself. No, it's not working. It worked before? No. So I started as a software engineer in 2004, as a full-stack software engineer in the Agile working environment. And then in 2008, I became a technical coach. And I accompanied many teams in different organizations to adopt Agile engineering practices. And over my journey, very similar to what Pat told you, his personal story, I also observed myself how I failed with my coaching approach. So I had this inner impulse to become clearer in my own coaching stance, which should allow me to create impact and to inspire people to transform themselves, because that's what agile transformation is all about, in my opinion. So I became, over a long journey, I became ICF PCC and CPCC, and I was also Scrum Alliance, CTC, and CEC. And I was, yeah. And I'm also a less advocate. So from my point of view, I'm building right on top what Bas said in the morning. Okay. What I will be talking about is my experience in transformations across many different industries, including insurance, finance, automotive, retail, energy, telecommunications, and consulting. So, what we are going to talk about in this 30 minutes, Agile came to revolutionize the world of work. I think we have some sort of agreement about this statement, okay? And then I'm going to talk to you about what has happened to Agile from my point of view, and I suppose there will be some agreement from your side. And then I will present to you the solution that I came up with to create impact with organizations. It's the scaled intent leadership model. So agile enterprise optimization. It's about continuous innovation. It's about customer-centric value maximization. It's about adaptivity. And it's about human-centric culture. These are the basic concepts for enterprise optimization. And Agile as a solution, I would argue, Agile as a solution assumes competitive market conditions and an open society with rational competition of ideas. And we will have a look if that's really the case today. So now I'm going to present to you the 10 systemic patterns which confirm the status quo in agile transformation, because that's, from my point of view, the key problems. There's a lot of change going on in agile transformations, but at the end of the day, the status quo is confirmed. So these are 10 pitfalls. I suppose a lot of you can relate to some of them at least. It's first the lack of commitment from the top management. It's the limitation to the IT department. It's delegation of responsibility to specialized consultants, agile coaches. It's the definition of KPIs which lead to local optimization. It's agile trainings and meaningless certification. It's renaming of roles, so business analysts become product owners and project managers become scrum masters. It's about applying a framework as a dogmatic solution. There's this popular framework with the 4 letters, and many large corporations, they have this assumption, this belief, they just need to roll it out properly, and then they become fully agile at the end of the day. Does it work? You have the answer. 8th pitfall is selecting agile coaches based on solution assumptions. So I have been a freelancer for 18 years, agile coach, and I had a lot of conversations with decision makers about hiring an agile coach. And what I observed is that they select an external agile coach based on their own solution assumptions. So they hire the agile coach based on the assumption, but they are not ready to talk about the problem, the underlying problem. Okay? Then pitfall number 9, prescribing self-organization. It relates to pitfall 1 and 2. So the management says, you're going to be self-organized. You're going to be self-organized, so job done. That also doesn't work if the manager doesn't see himself as part of the transformation. Okay? And the 10th pitfall is to neglect being agile in favor of doing agile. So all of these pitfalls relate to each other. So doing agile means to apply practices, and being agile is the culture, the values which are intrinsic to the working behavioral patterns. All right, let's proceed. So you can download my ebook for free, The 10 Pitfalls of Agile Transformations in English and German. Yes, this is just an invitation. And of course, I will share this slide deck with you. You can read the details afterwards. So all of these 10 pitfalls, they jointly reinforce the status quo of the organizational system. And this is not something new. I was, I don't know, 6 years ago, I had a CLP training with Greg Larman, and he introduced the Larman's laws. And it was for me very inspiring to feel, to understand cognitively what I already knew, that the status quo is confirmed. So there is a confirmation bias at work here. Yeah, exactly. So the Agile renaming party. Yeah, it's a big party. We observe over Agile transformation that a lot is changing. New Agile roles are introduced. New Agile process, new artifacts, new Agile method, tools, and frameworks, new Agile, you name it. So we have a new, it's like a party. Okay. So the question is, if so much has changed over the transformation, what exactly has been confirmed? What is the essence of what has been confirmed? Because I just said that the status quo has been confirmed. So I suggest that the essence of what has been confirmed are the patterns how decisions are accomplished. The patterns how decisions are accomplished in the value creation process. So I have observed that hierarchical structure is reinforced, especially when it comes to the middle management, and also autonomy of individuals and teams is suppressed. So we are reaching exactly the opposite of an agile organization through the transformation. So if that agile is the solution, I want my problem back. I don't know how it's about you, but that's my personal statement. If that agile is the solution, I want my problem back. So let's get back to the problem that we want to solve with agile. So agile enterprise, we all know agile comes from XP, extreme programming from the software engineering. But the idea was to solve the problem of value maximization through holistic perspectives. Yeah? Customer centricity, for example. So it's the goal of an agile enterprise optimization is continuous innovation to build the right thing. Bas already talked about it in the morning. Build the right thing rather than build more what you don't need. Customer-centric value maximization, adaptivity. I was told a story that at this 2001 meeting in Utah, where the Agile Manifesto was initiated, the initial term to describe the idea was adaptivity, not agile. Okay, and it's about, of course, a human-centric culture. So now let's look at the reality of enterprise optimization. It's a complex topic with competing goals. So we see in the lower left corner, innovation and value maximization. This is the optimization, the agile optimization. But then we see a lot of other different enterprise optimization goals. There's sense of stability, legal compliance, revenue maximization, adherence to titles and roles, and process conformity. So it's, from my point of view, so important to acknowledge that we have different enterprise optimization goals. Now, when we look at those enterprise optimization goals, we can observe that the blue ones here, is it blue or is it green? Here it's green, here it's blue. They are all contributing to confirming the status quo of the system. Yeah. So whenever the structural changes would come into place, they put the enterprise at risk in terms of short-term revenue maximization, adherence to titles and roles, process conformity, legal compliance, sense of stability. So this is why decision makers, they try all kinds of ways to avoid challenging the status quo. So the organization must become agile, but at no price they want to put the enterprise at risk, so to speak. Yeah. So, and only this enterprise optimization goal, innovation and value maximization corresponds to, or it requires continuous learning. And the principle of continuous learning is exactly the opposite of all these other optimization goals. Okay, so now is my question to you. How does your company prioritize those competing enterprise optimization goals? How is continuous learning prioritized compared to other goals? When we want to be efficient as a change agent, we need to bring this question on the table. So, I believe it's quite clear now. We are here talking about leadership. Agile, so what are the cornerstones for Agile leadership? There are two areas. It's the culture and there are the teams. In this Agile way of working, there's no particular place for a manager. Yeah, it can be there, but they are optional. Okay, so the culture means emotional safety, high sense of purpose, intrinsic motivation, servant leadership stance, and coaching, to use coaching as a strategic corporate asset. So now, when it comes to teams, I'm repeating unintentionally what was already said in the morning. We don't want only self-organizing, but self-governing teams. Yeah. So it's about a very deep self-responsibility for the outcome of the team, which goes beyond self-organization. Of course, teams should be responsible for end-to-end delivery, and they should be the central unit in the organization, and ideally they are comprised of multi-skilled individuals, product developers, but sometimes you don't develop a product, so I would not reinforce this. Okay, so in a nutshell, Agile leadership is about decentralized decision-making and autonomous teams and individuals. Now you could ask, what does it mean autonomous? With teams, we have some clear idea. Autonomous individual, one could argue, okay, if every individual is autonomous, there will be no alignment because everybody will do what they want to do. It's like cherry picking, possibly. Yeah. So the tricky part of an agile organization is to allow that every single employee steps into his or her personal purpose and at the same time align with the organizational mission. Exactly, you said it, yeah? Yeah. Okay, so how much time I have left? 10 minutes, oh my God. So value maximization corresponds to autonomous teams and individuals. And this, for me, is a call for 360-degree leadership, okay? Unleashing the unity of heart and mind. This is exactly what we do in coaching according to ICF standards. All right? Leading by intent in the corporate context, individually and collectively. So scaled intent leadership is an organizational development framework for promoting and reinforcing a purpose-driven organizational structure and to achieve sustainable change resulting from continuous learning, which leads to unleashing a shared sense of purpose. So how do I suggest to do this? So if coaching is applied for anybody in the organization who is willing to search inside himself or inside herself, in this moment people are connecting to their personal values and they show up in an authentic way. And this is the basis. And after the personal coaching, we need to create the structures for continuous adaptation, which allows for cultural and structural evolving. Okay, so about coaching again. Coaching, according to ICF standards, acknowledges individuals and teams in a 360-degree perspective. And it supports, it is effective by unleashing, as I said before, embodiment of personal values, intrinsic motivation, self-leadership with inner determination, and curiosity for learning. So this is all of this, what I tell you here is something that I experienced myself on a small scale in the past. And my personal approach is to extend this scale and to work with organizations who are ready for a holistic 360-degree transformation. So I have here defined the 3 key steps to unfold the purpose-driven enterprise. So in the core, you start with coaching the executive sponsor. So it's the person who says, we have a sense of urgency. We need to become agile. So whenever you get such a request, you ask the question, how are you going to be leading by example? What does this transformation of the organization mean to you personally? How are you going to reinvent yourself? And then you need to decide if this executive is ready to really a new look inside himself or herself. And if you observe that the person wants to get the topic from his table, you can leave this and go searching for someone else, yeah, because it's not going to work. Yeah, but when you start with the coaching of the executive sponsor, then you are going to work in the next step with arbitrary volunteers from the organization. So you cannot impose coaching to anyone. It will not work if you set up a process that says everybody needs to be coached. Yeah? You stand in the queue and you will get... It's not going to work. Yeah? Only on a voluntary basis. So it should be communicated that it's a privilege to get this coaching service. It's on the one side, it's a privilege, but at the same time, it's also a responsibility, because you don't show up anymore in your functional role only, but you express your functional role through your personal values. And that's the basis for to play a completely different game. And if there is a critical mass of people who have been coached, you can create a parallel organization. It will be the same delivery process, but it's a different leadership culture. And you need to establish KPIs to have a competitive model between the old leadership approach and the new one. And you create the structures for to align the organizational structure to allow autonomous leadership. Yeah? So you need definitely changes in the structure of the organization. So it's like really the topic reinventing organization. It's an old book. I'm sure that a lot of you know about it, from Frederic Laloux. Reinventing organization. And reinventing organization starts with reinventing responsibility. Okay, so what are the benefits of the scaled intent enterprise? The problem underlying the agile solution is actually solved. It means adaptivity and value maximization. Then the enterprise optimization goal is consciously aligned to maximize value delivery. And continuous learning has become inherent to value creation. And fourth, adaptivity is built into the system. So these are the 4 benefits. So I'm already on my last slide. I'm faster than I expected, actually. That's good. All of this builds on some core principles of large-scale Scrum, which are the lean principles, simplicity and descaling, systems thinking, self-governing teams, product centricity, and last but not least, critical thinking. And all of this goes more or less hand in hand. And now I'm done, and maybe somebody has some question. Is it possible? Yeah? Is there something clear?
All right, so there's about 2 minutes. So is there one question? Somebody has a burning question they want to ask of our friend Marc here?
Any questions?
Burning question. Yes.
Thank you very much for an amazing presentation. It was very, very interesting from your perspective.
Yeah, from my perspective, right.
I'm interested, like, what's your experience? How can you explain, how can you measure the impact of Agile coaching in organization?
Measure the impact of Agile coaching. It's not exactly my topic, but it's an important topic.
Yeah, how do you feel like it? Because you have good experiences there.
Measure the impact of Agile coaching.
If it's necessary at all.
If it's necessary at all. Well, for me, it's like how much is the system, the organizational system, dependent on the Agile coaches? That's exactly counterproductive. Yeah. So Agile coaches need always to be obsolete. This is why they are called coaches somehow. Yeah. So whenever they are absorbed in the operational process, they become part of the system. Yeah. So I mean, we have the Scrum Master role, and it was designed to work both in the system and on the system. So this is also possible, but Agile coach should see the organization as a system and work on the system. Yeah.